flex me a bad body. So, it's another one, yeah. It's a full strong, yeah. Oh, it's another one, yeah.
Yes, people, what's going on? Obviously, we're back with another roundup. It's the end of week roundup, weekend fight review. We've obviously got a special guest stepping in for Mr. Chris BNG. We obviously have Ra Hockham, straight from Punchout Boxing. Brother, how you doing, my brother? I know you're actually recovering after your birthday week, so how you feeling now, man?
As I was telling you, probably enjoyed myself too much birthday week, got ill, was getting better, went to a couple of boxing shows over the weekend, Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Slowed down the progress. So, yeah, not 100% yet, but good enough to join you, which I always love. So, glad to be here.
Yeah, no, and appreciate you for just, stepping in, doing what you do best. And, yeah, we obviously got a lot to talk about. We've had, a tremendous weekend. But obviously, before we talk about what's happened over the weekend, I just need to obviously shout out, Mr. Neutral. He obviously did the watch along for Azim, and O'Hara did the card. So big up to him, and big up to obviously Rico. He obviously joined in from his lovely studio, which was absolutely tremendous. And then he hosted, the watch along for Tim Zoo and Murtar Zaliev. I could never get that name right, and I don't want to butcher the man's name, but he's a great champion. So big up to the community. But before we do the show, let's go to our sponsors, D-Rock. People, so that's D-Rock working in association with iBoxingHub. So guys, make sure you're supporting them, but also supporting us as well. So go on the website, which is in the description, and just type in the code iBoxingHub24, and you can get 40% off this strip, whatever you saw in the video. So now, big up, man. And we've got Mr. Neutral in the chat. Big up to him. He's obviously saying hello, fellas. Hello to you, and hello to everyone that's tuned in, of course, and a big shout out to the family, man. Of course, man. Big shout out to you, Ra. Big shout out to Mr. Neutral. Big shout out to Andrew, Aisha, Rico, Abbas, Ray. It's been a tremendous week of content, especially throughout the week. So I appreciate just the whole of the family for just stepping in and doing a great job. But Ra, you know what? I'm going to hand you over the keys, man. So start us off, man. Where would you like us to start off with?
Hey, let's go chronologically, because obviously at Friday night I was at York Hall,
Yes.
which is always interesting because, Queensbury, even though they're involved with Riyadh season, the big glamorous events, they still are doing those grassroots shows, which, as we all know, are imperative for the sport. So that gets those guys who ain't yet at that star level, keep them active. So my guy Sam Gilly, local boy, first guy I ever interviewed, made his Queensbury debut. Late replacement Jack McGann, the Scouser, and won in emphatic fashion. So that was good for him to do that on his big TV debut. And it's more about what's happening at super welterweight, as I'm sure we'll come to. The world scene is absolutely scorching hot, but so is domestically. And for these guys, if they're ever going to get near to that top level, then they're going to need serious fights. So next up, Sam Gilly's got a rematch of fight with Louis Green, which last year was like fight of the year candidate. So he's in the line for that. And then, you know, you've got Ishmael Davis, the first mandatory. So
Pete.
then you put youngsters like Junaid Boston saying, yeah, I want to get, I mean, it's going to be hot for a long time. And yeah, so that was a great performance by him. And the co-main event was really interesting. Nick Webb, people forgot about him. He made his comeback. Courtney Bennett, South London boy, and claimed that Southern area title. And I think what Nick Webb's done is interesting, because you know, you always hear about these fighters saying, "Oh, you know what? I've been at this level. I ain't motivated to go down." I think, well, look, at that level, you already got beaten.
Yep.
So if you're fighting on, it's going to have to be down level. So big up to Webb. He went down a couple of levels and said, it's okay. I'll go down to Southern area and work my way back up. So big up to him. And yeah, look, he's got that title. There might be some other prospects who you could fight. Yeah, you know, one or two good wins. Next thing you know, you could be on a big show. So yeah, Friday night at York Hall, I enjoyed that as ever.
No, big up to you. No, big up to you, my brother. Like, I don't think a lot of people appreciate the kind of work that you do in the back end, especially for Punchout. You know, covering, you know, any type of domestic scene as well, especially in York Hall. One of my favorite places to go. In fact, I haven't been in quite some time, man. But in terms of York Hall, the ambience, what you're gonna get, you pretty much get everything, because you've got the ring literally in the center, but then you've got the bar area slash the food area, just literally 10 seconds from the ring. So I just think that, you know, what you get at your core is what you get, and I love it, man. I can't even lie to you. And big up to Palamos Music. He's obviously saying good evening, gents. Hope all is well, brother. We appreciate you for, you know, your constant support. Appreciate it. Road to 1,000 subs. So guys, make sure you tell a friend of a friend of a friend and recommend this channel if they like boxing, of course, man. So big up. And Mr. Neutral's obviously saying shout out to Punchout Boxing. Privileged to be repping them for Catchall Regis fight next Saturday. Now, big up to you, Mr. Neutral, doing some tremendous work as per. So I'm just really excited. And Abbas, I believe, has been, you know, covering the Regis and the Catchall fight throughout. So yeah, it's going to be absolutely tremendous. The tray is back. Where's BNG? Big up Ra, the soldier of iBoxingHub. Now, big up to you. BNG is obviously not feeling well, so Ra's obviously stepping in. And plus, in terms of the domestic scene and with what's happened, the best person to get is Ra, because he's covering, you know, most of the small hall shows. I don't really like to call it small hall. I like to call it mainly grassroots, man. I would say grassroots. It's more, you know, it's more proper, man. So yeah, Ra, it's been a tremendous Friday for you, and it obviously moved over to somewhere that's, you know, quite close to my home. Of course, we had the high voltage event at the Copper Box Arena in London for Hara Davis. Of course, it's kind of where he started in Hackney, and he's obviously saying now that it is where it potentially could end, man. And what a tremendous vibe that you're getting here from OD, you know, Azim and Yard. Like, absolutely love the energy, and big up to both fighters, man. They obviously put on a tremendous show, and Adam Azim obviously showed his class and got a tremendous victory. But I want to give thanks, obviously, and to shout out, you know, Francesca Hennessy, $1 Million Baby. She's obviously produced the goods, won her first, you know, title. So I wanted to, you know, get your thoughts on Miss Hennessy's performance.
Very impressed. Not because it was necessarily easy dominant win, but because it wasn't. And you know, every young fighter's got to come through that. The first couple of rounds, that Brazilian woman, Moraes, it was obvious she's way bigger, way stronger, and vicious coming out looking to take young Fran's head off, landed some big blows. Now, as we saw with, what happened with Ben Whittaker, there's always that question mark. A young, flashy kid, it's all very well doing it when you've got easy opponents. What about the first time you come across someone? They're not mesmerized by your moves.
Yep.
They take your best shots and they're going to hit you to take your head off. How are you going to react? That is what impressed me most, because a couple of times early on, Fran did get hit, definitely looked buzzed. But her first instinct was, okay, I'm in a fight. Let me try and fight it out with her. So that was the first thing impressive. The next thing that was impressive was when she realized that ain't working. This woman's bigger and stronger than me. I've got to switch it up. And that's what she did. She went back to her slippery moves, made the girl miss, punished her, and got the job done, got the rounds, and won on points. Brilliant from her. Because look, every young fighter, if you're going to develop, you're going to have some hard fights coming up, and you're going to have to come through it. So that's what I was most impressed by.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you, and I love, the fact that the family's there to support her as well. Legendary promoter, and it was just good to see Fran sort of have these fights, tick that off, which is a tough fight, because she came to fight the other fighter, man, the Brazilian fighter. She came to fight. She wanted to make a statement, and it was a good performance in the end. So big up to Francesca Hennessy. It's her birthday as well today, so happy birthday to the $1 million baby. But I hate to call her $1 million baby, man, but that's her thing, man. So big up to Palamos as well. Say watching, hit the likes, people, hit the likes, and subscribe, people, hit the bell for the notifications on when we go live as well, man. So big up, man. Obviously, we had a few things happen as well. So Jamie TKV literally got through his battle as well. So I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on our Congolese brother. Big up TKV, man. I'm always, me.
Yeah, of course. I made that joke to him. I made that Congo 1, Nigeria 0. Listen, by Jamie's own admission, it weren't a tidy fight. It got messy, but he said that from what they saw of Franco's style, that's how it goes when Franco's pressured. But he kept the pressure up, did what he needed to get the win, and big up to Franco. I like Franco, but by the end he got worn down, took too many shots. I thought the stoppage was a bit premature, but the truth is Franco didn't complain about it, so it was probably right. Well done to Jamie, and he gave me a good soundbite afterwards. Said he doesn't like Sol Dakers. There's beef there, so that could be an interesting fight down the road. But obviously, there's promotional issues to get over with that. But look, as we said, heavyweight's brilliant right now domestically. So. Any of them, there's the potential for loads of good fights for him. But he wants to get in again before the end of the year, so hopefully we'll see him in another fight.
No, big up to Jamie TKV, and big up to Bazza as well. Bazza doesn't really get, the appreciation that he does in the back end. So big up to Bazza Smith as well, and big up to Thunder Road. He's saying Justin immediately hit the thumbs up. Good afternoon, good evening. Big up to you, Thunder Road. And Mr. Nutri's obviously saying, so Dakes overrated, or people just mean. What's your thoughts on that, Ra?
Overrated. Well, he's been getting a lot of criticism lately, so who's rating him highly? Are you talking about because of the status as English champ? Might be flattered a bit by that, because often it's just a case of if your promoter can get you that title fight. if anything, I wonder if he's a bit underrated because he ain't a hard puncher, but stylistic is he still very awkward and is hard to beat, but he just doesn't look good doing it. So time will tell. But you know what? That's two fighters now that have dug him out. Moses Itoma and now Jamie. Now, of course, they're both in the same gym, so I don't know
how that would can it. Yeah, that would be crazy.
Gone down there, but yeah, listen. One thing that's for sure, Dacres has gone silent since there's been the opportunity for him to fight some of his rivals, and that don't bode well for me. So what is he just waiting for Fabio Wardley to vacate the British to try and get in there first? I somewhat suspect that might be his tactic, but
we don't want to see people waiting around, of course. And Mr. Neutral's obviously saying Dacres is a dark horse. We definitely haven't seen his best, and he has a certain look of confidence in himself. So time will tell. And Moses versus Johnny Fisher. So what's your thoughts on that? We obviously heard what Moses Itoma said about Johnny Fisher, saying that he ruined his career if he fights him. I love that from the young man. But yeah, what's your thoughts on that, really?
Yeah, listen, we know about the hype around Moses, and you'd expect that from their promotional team, their managers, etc. But the reason I believe it with Moses is because of what other fighters say. Yeah, that is a different thing. Like when I talk to some of these other young prospects, as I said, there's a lot of coming up in the heavyweight division in the UK, and I ask them, you're upcoming, who's the other fighters that you see as your future threats to you and future rivals? A couple of them that I spoke to said, you know what, out of all the guys I've seen and sparred with and what have you, Moses Itoma's above everyone. Yeah. So when fighters themselves are saying that, you got to believe it. It's not just their manager and promoter. So I think is that fight down the line a big money fight? Yeah, because Johnny is a great ticket seller. But listen, don't underestimate that he's developing at his own pace. When the time's right, the gap might close a bit. But for now, Moses is on the fast track. Yeah. But, the tortoise sometimes catches up the hare. So I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. Let them both develop and get to where they're going first. Then we talk about it. But one thing's for sure, we don't want it to be one of them situations like AJ and Fury that we just talk about it for the next 10 years and it doesn't happen. Let's not make that mistake for the promoters.
Yeah, no, trust me, I 100% agree with you. And Johnny Fisher's a big ticket seller, but like you said, he's developing as well. So the future is definitely bright. I did see a comment from Mr. Neutral, but big up Mr. Styles 619 all the way from Canada. Loving the energy as always. I know you've got a lot to say, brother, so big up to you. Both are better than British level. I want to see Dacres versus Adelaide, which is fair. And Mr. Neutral did say, not yet. Let's marinate that fight, man. Which it makes sense. I think he's talking about Itoma and Fisher. I think, let's let it marinate a little bit. But I think, but who'd you put him in the ring with for Itoma now? If you don't want that fight now, Fisher.
Well, look who Itoma's fighting in December. He's fighting Dempsey McKean.
Oh, yes, he is.
What's Hergovich, who was the #1 ranked contender. And Hergovich's only defeat is to the current IBF champ, Dubois. So let's see how Moses looks against McKean. Because if he blitzes McKean, you can say, well, look, I did a better job than the #1 contender, who's a fully mature man, did. I say aim for that target of beating Mike Tyson's record. After December the 21st, the picture will be clearer because we'll get an idea of what Usyk or Fury does with the title. If it's Usyk who wins, which I expect it to be, the logical thing would be for him to retire, but we don't know if he will. His team are saying he's got no plans to retire, but I mean, what else is he going to do? He's established himself as the best of his generation. Why ruin it?
No, 100%. I agree with you, definitely. I think we're obviously going to get to the fight eventually, but, you know, once you reach a certain pinnacle or you reach a certain point where there's nothing left for you to do, I think, that time could obviously come, of course, man. Mr. Star 619 saying, what about a possible fight with Fisher and Clark, which seems like a decent fight. The Tuman needs decent foreign opposition. Nice shout out. And Palamas is obviously saying, is the Ben Eubank fight marinating? Sorry to be off topic, but anyone really interested in this? I know we all want to confirm. You know what? We'll get to Eubank Ben at some point for sure. But I kind of just want us to just go through a few little things before we get back to that. But Palamos will definitely cover Eubank Ben very, very, very soon. Just very quickly, Ra, before we obviously go to the two main events, of course, Mickelson and Mbengi. That was a what a fight. Wanted to get your thoughts on that, man.
Yeah, again, I spoke to Mikey. Interview up on Punchout Boxing later. He admitted he lost. I guess star-wise, Mbengi is just one of those guys that's very difficult. You know, his only defeat was against Sissoko in France, which probably means he was robbed. Yeah. So, you know, Mikey's got that same problem, that he's hard to beat and but not a big draw. So he has to take these really hard fights against guys that no one really knows. And for the casuals, it don't look good because they don't know him. But Mbengi's genuine. He's a genuine contender. He would beat a lot of the other big names in the UK at welterweight. So unlucky to McKinson, but he, by his own admission, he wasn't the winner. The right man won. So now Mikey's back to the drawing board, which is a pity because he's willing to take those hard fights and yet still struggles to get the big fights. But as he said, maybe the fact that he lost this, maybe some other guys will now think, yeah, I can beat him. He's beatable. So maybe he'll get some better fights now.
Yeah, no, obviously, big up to Rico. He's obviously tuned in to the show. Big up to you, brother. Tremendous work yesterday with both streams. It's obviously a pleasure to have our brother, give our viewers, some great content, man. So no, big up to him, man. And he's obviously saying tremendous, man. Big up to you, my brother. And no, I agree with you completely. It was just obviously one of those ones, but hopefully he can come back strong. Obviously, we know our brother Rico has, had an interview and is good friends with the problem. So yeah, let's see what happens in the near future, of course, man. But he definitely will come back. Rico's obviously saying 38 subs to 1K. So guys, make sure you're sharing what we do. And yeah, he's obviously saying Mikey will be back. And 100% agree. Mikey will be back. All right. I know when we was obviously watching the event, of course, we had Dan Aziz's fight as the main event for some reason. I don't know. There was a bit of a, bit of controversy there. So I want us to talk about Dan Aziz's fight first with Edmondson. I know, it pretty much shocked a lot of people with the result, with what happened as well. But I kind of wanted to get your thoughts about that situation and what's happened. Was you happy with the result? Was the result fit? And yeah,
you know what? It's when the final bell went, and I'm talking to some of our colleagues ringside, and a lot of us agreed we think Dan Aziz won. But I did actually say I thought Dan won, but I think they're going to give it to Louis because I thought that they got hoodwinked by the showboating. But I definitely thought that he done more showboating than actual punching. Yeah, and that might give the judges that impression like he's in control. But I said, well, dancing around and you don't win points for doing that. But it turns out I was unfortunately right. The judges did give it to Louis. But most of us, I think pretty much everyone I spoke to ringside amongst our media colleagues thought Dan was the winner. So I don't know if now the powers that be, the industry thinks, Dan is 35, he's on his way out. The young gun is coming up. I don't know if it's because of that.
Look, we're getting a few thoughts here. So obviously, big up to Mr. Neutral in the chat as well. Big up to Lucy as well, all the way from the States. Lucy's facts. We obviously appreciate you. I know you're going to come through with some facts, of course. T like, yo, they go against you. So look, Rico's obviously saying Ben Whittaker going to Matchroom potentially. Lou will get a big push from Boxer, which is,
that's what I was wondering, because Louis is a good talker. He's younger, he's a bit flash. Maybe they think, we can promote him more, and maybe that's what influenced the judges. Hey, we're just speculating, but as people as Neutral said, and most of us ringside were saying, Dan was hard that by.
Yeah, no, of course, and big up everyone in the chat. Everyone's just getting involved in the discussion, of course. And Ra, I can't even lie to you. I've been a bit itching for us to talk about these few events now, or few fights. So firstly, O'Hara Davis versus the assassin Adam Aziz. I think O'Hara Davis actually calls himself Two Tanks.
Yeah.
So just pretty much, we obviously saw what happened. It was a tremendous boxing masterclass from the assassin, of course, and absolute class from O'Hara Davis. Meeting up with the assassin and Anthony Yard and sort of rekindling their past, of course. But look, the better man won on the night. To get your thoughts on the assassin's performance, of course.
Yeah, it was very good, very good. Answered a few questions. Most notably, can he take a shot? He certainly did get clipped a few times. And for all of O'Hara's other flaws, one thing's for sure, he can hit, and that's been confirmed by top level guys he's fought. Josh Taylor said in the past, when I felt his power, make no mistake, his punching power's for real. And we've seen it several times, like when he clipped people, they've gone to sleep. So that's a good sign that Azim, he can't be put to sleep easily. I thought he showed some good shorter shots up close. So he's definitely improved in that regard. Still things to work on, as there always is. At a higher level, he's got to still tighten up on defence. But with Shane, bringing him on, I'm sure they'll address that. So overall, I'd say very good performance by Adam. Hopefully, his promoters will, take the leash off now and stop being so cautious with the matchmaking. But I want to say, though, I really big up O'Hara. It's always sad to see, when that, that circle of life, it comes when a fighter comes to that end. It's always sad. I want to big him up. He gave us, some great entertainment over the past decade. you know, a lot of people. He played the pantomime villain well throughout his career, and in the ring, he also put in some good performances. You know, he gave us some big knockouts, really exciting. So big up to him, and I hope he stays in the game, maybe in management or something, because like I said, he knows how to sell a fight. He's also sensible and can give good advice on like how not to waste money and invest for your future. So yeah, big up O'Hara. So congratulations on a brilliant career. And Adam Azim, he can go onwards and upwards. And let's hope his promoters now stop with the message with him.
Yeah, no, definitely, and like everyone's just getting involved in the chat as well. Palamas music from being chopped under the bus from Eddie till now. Ahara, in my opinion, is a don. Obviously,
Yeah.
Slough, big up to Slough Town. Everyone's the same, just big up really, man. And Yard Boatsi March next year. Let's get it. Definitely, we should see that fight, of course. And now that obviously Rico's obviously mentioned it, we didn't obviously talk about it as well, but Anthony Yard obviously made his return. Of course, it was a tough fight, I would say, man. But early knockdown at the beginning, but eventually, you know, got the victory. Lions in the camp in East London, so it was good to, you know, see him back. And we obviously all want to see the fight. We want to see Boatsi versus Yard. Will we see that fight next? Is that the fight next? Or
Yeah, I think so. Boatsi's with Boxer. I'm guessing the reason, you know, there's been this whole drama with leaving Queensbury because Tunde knows if that fight's made, it's going to be a really big pay-per-view sale, and they want to keep their chunk of the purse for themselves. I'm guessing. I think we will see it next, and no complaints from us as fans. I don't think, because you know there's no excuses now. Timing's right. Yeah, it'll be brilliant. Hopefully we get that next, whenever next is for both guys. On Yard's performance, very lackluster. If that's a sign that the decline has started, or whether it was just a year's inactivity, I guess we'll find out when he fights Boatsi. But yeah, there weren't much intensity from him. Plus, it was all too friendly. You know, him and Vilkins. Vilkins looked like he was happy just to be there, like it was a weekend in London for him. Too great. Yeah, so there weren't the intensity from either man, like it's you know a real fight. So anyway, he wanted to tune up, so he's got that. I don't want no more delays. I want the Boatsi fight next.
yeah, I think that's what we all want to see. Of course, we want to see the showdown between both guys, and the winner could fight. You know, the winner out of the possible the undisputed rematch could be maybe with that undisputed fight happen again. I think obviously the IBF have, you know, welcomed the rematch, so I could potentially see that happening next, and then the winner could fight that. Lucy's obviously saying that Boatsi has the WBO interim. Be a good idea to go off for effort though if Berta BF vacates, which is fair, which is true.
I disagree with Thomas.
Okay. Okay. No, say you might as well say your point, my brother.
But Eifert's number one, Conor Wallace is number two. If Better Be a vacates, them two are going to fight for it. So what's the point in anyone waiting around, you know, for other people to deal with their business? I think, let's be real, whoever's got this interim belt or that vacated belt, nobody considers them the real champion. The real champion is the winner of Better Be Evan Bivol. Yeah, I think we can all agree with that. These other belts, whether you've got one interim or the other, it don't really give you any greater status. So I think make Boatsi Yard next. Yeah, forget the IDF. The WBO interim will suffice for that, and it's an actual fight. Because neither of them are at the level of Beterbiev or Bivol. So they're the second tier guys. Fight that fight now. No more delays.
No, it is a fair point. It is a fair point. I'm literally just reading over everyone's comments. Obviously, thank you so much just for everyone just tuning in and getting involved in the discussions as well. I'm not too sure what happened with the previous stream, but we're here. I was saying Boatsy go after effort if he could vacate and get that shot, which is fair. You know what, for me, and I kind of agree with everyone, man. We want to see this fight next. I think Rico alluded that they could possibly fight another tune-up, then Boatsy. But how long is Boatsy going to be kind of waiting around for? So for me, both guys just need to make the fight happen as soon as. I think both guys want to make the fight happen as well, but it's the legalities, it's the business side that obviously needs to be sorted. Yard obviously wants to ensure that he gets paid handsomely. So does Joshua Boatsy as well. And both these guys are prize fighters at the end of the day. Obviously, our boy, our brother, Sugar Ray obviously says it the best as well. There's prize fighters, they fight for prize. So at the end of the day, they just need to get the numbers right. So both guys could just finally get it on, and we can finally get to see this fight, man. But before we obviously go over to the next event, of course, should these two fight venue-wise? Because obviously you go to quite a few venues. Obviously Yard is from East London. Boatsy is from South London. Where is the neutral ground in terms of the venue where they would fight that makes sense in your opinion?
I think that O2 Arena is fine for it. It's easily accessible from East and South London. So yes, although technically O2 is in South London.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's a bit of the
but it's the most northern part of South London. If you get me, it's right up by the river.
It's true.
So the distance from Stratford to the O2 is actually closer than Croydon to the O2.
You're right. I know. You're absolutely right.
O2 is fine. O2 is fine.
Look, Mr. Neutral saying South versus East can be only one venue, Birmingham. So he's saying complete scrap London, the capital, go to the second biggest city. No, big up to us. I think this fight needs to happen in London, man.
Oh yeah. And it will. I can't. Well, then again, boxers have done some baffling things, haven't they? So, but we gotta hope that all sense prevails. Palomas music, absolutely right. I was there for React 4.
So the atmosphere wasn't really. It's a football stadium. You would expect it to be good.
It was dreadful. People always complaining about the atmosphere in Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
It was as bad as that. Only, at least in Saudi Arabia, you've got warm weather and a nice stadium. Selhurst Park had freezing cold weather and the stadium's a dump. Yeah. Simon Jordan, when he was the chairman, he didn't invest any money into the ground. It has not been renovated since the 1970s. So, yeah, definitely not.
Wow, that says a lot, man. Maybe Mr. Neutral's right as well. He's obviously saying go north, Wembley Arena, which makes sense. Not Wembley, but the arena, which makes sense.
Wembley Arena is half the size of the O2. So
what a big disappointment. Palambos took his son, and it was a big disappointment, man. Apologies, my brother. Apologies, man. Absolute shameful, man. But we can agree that should that fight happen, definitely it has to be in London. And Lucy's Fats is obviously saying has not been renovated since 1970s. Damn, bruh, you're giving us the facts, man. So it's a 10K turnout fight at best.
Oh, Mr. Neutral, you're ever the cynic. I don't know. Look, if they're doing it in March, there's enough time to hype this up, isn't there?
Yeah, but we don't even know if it's happening, man, because they still need to, go through the legalities and stuff like that. Like Guatsi, I'm sure he wants to do the fight, but
Yeah.
they're also weighing up their options as well because they don't want to obviously wait around, which is fair. And I'm sure Yard probably doesn't want to jump into another, big fight straight away. They might, get another tune up and work their way into it, man. But for me, I think they're both ready, man. I would rather want to see that fight happen in March, and let's get it, man. You need to see JB Just Business versus the Beast from the East, Mr. Lions in the camp, Anthony Yard. Let's see it in Wembley Arena, man. I'm going by Neutral's word, man. Let's see that fight at the Wembley Arena. All right. We're here. The main event, of course. Big up to Mr. Neutral as well. He obviously did the live stream watch along for the main event. But it was a tremendous card. And big up to Rico, actually. He actually did the watch along for this tremendous event. And yeah, I just can't wait for us to, talk about this, of course. Tim Tszyu, son of a legend, he's a second generation fighter, ex-world champion, former world champion, daring for greatness. He obviously fell short first time against Fandora, and he's obviously fell short the second time against the unbeaten champion. So I kind of just wanted to get your thoughts. It was a bit of a upsetting moment for me because Tim Tszyu is a top fighter.
He's one of your favourites, I know. Listen, brutal stoppage. I think everyone underestimated Bahram Murtazaliev because he did not look impressive when he won the title. And Jamie at Punch Perfect Boxing, great kid, by the way, if you want to check out his analysis. He pointed out, I just saw his video today, that it turns out Murtazaliev was doing Ramadan in training when he won the title. That's why he probably looked flat. I mean, he's not particularly slick or skilled, but, he's from that same Caucasus stock as Beterbiev. Just, an absolute beast for strength and power. And Tszyu underestimated him, probably. We saw how flat he looked against Tolke. Came straight at him and got caught. But the thing is, he didn't adjust. He just tried to fight it out whilst he hadn't really recovered from that first big left hook. Got dropped several more times and was rightfully stopped when he was. So, look, Tzew's still fairly young. That's okay. But, yeah, he's in a division of killers. He's dropped down the pecking order. So he's going to have to rebuild a little bit now back in Oz. But, yeah, listen, kudos to him. He always fights best available opponents. But, yeah, some of them big punches he took makes you wonder if there's going to be a lasting effect.
Yeah, you know what? Those shots were absolutely wow. Like I would say I was in more shock because Tim, I would say, overlooked his opponent.
Mm-hmm.
I think they generally overlooked their opponent. They thought, because obviously I've been following the journey of Tim Tszyu, and they did the regional route, which is they obviously did the fights in their country. They obviously done as much as they can to do what they do best. And what's happened is they initially wanted to fight Keith Thurman. Obviously, it didn't happen in the end. That flipped to Fandora, and Fundora just completely, changed the script for Zoo. And I think for me, Zoo's management, I think they made an error with this one. I think they shouldn't have put Zoo in with Bergkamp. Definitely, I definitely think they should have done it. I think they should have put him in with a tune-up first, get his confidence a bit higher firstly, and then get him into those fights, because that was a high-level performer, high-level opponent, a strong puncher, and styles make fights. And I don't think that was the fight for him next as well. And then with his dad at attendance as well, did that play a bit of a factor as well? I doubt it, but I think the result, regardless, would have been the same, man. So yeah, big up to the champ.
I would disagree with you on that. I know a lot of people amongst our media colleagues are saying that it was a mistake. The way I see it is this: Zoo's last fight against Fundora, he was competitive all the way. Essentially, it was the cut which hindered him. So there was nothing in there to suggest, that he needs some more work. I thought that it showed he's well and truly established at world level. And then given the way Murtazaliev looked against Kolkai, the fact that he's kept taking step-aside money, he took step-aside money a couple of times, it all gives the impression that maybe his team know he ain't all that. All of those things together, and given that 154 is possibly the hottest division in the game, there's no easy touches to get a world title fight. There's Crawford, who I think stylistically is a nightmare for Zoo, and it looks like Fundora he's got some big fight lined up with Spence in Texas, which means this was a quick route to getting a title. And like I said, given the way Bakram's looked and the way his career's moved, I would say on paper at least he was the quickest and easiest route to a world title. So nah, I don't think you can say just because he got blitzed in hindsight, that's always easy. You got to go by what the situation you see before the fight. Now, can't fault his management for taking a world title shot.
No, definitely. I'm just going through some of the chats here. I'm not too sure what's happening with the stream, but it's cut off a few times, man. But it's all good. We're gonna re-upload this episode on YouTube, but we're still live, so it's all good. Lucy's obviously giving us a fun fact. So Keith Thurman has only had one fight in the last 5 years, which is absolutely truthful. Bro went from Keith Thurman to real life demon. And big up to Madion, who's obviously saying Zoo got ice like Sid. And Alonzo Tremendous, I love the name Tremendous, man. So big up to you, my brother. He's obviously saying smash the likes. And I'd like to see Eggington and Zoo, and why, which is interesting. So, yeah, I look, at the end of the day, I think what I would like to see for Zoo, as a fan, is I would like to see him, head back to Australia. He's done the American tour. It obviously didn't pan out the way he, foreseen it was going to pan out, just due to the losses and what's happened. So look, rebuild, come back. World level, I still think he's in that mix, but maybe just needs to just take a step back, allow the rest of the fighters to obviously fight. You obviously got. My question is to you, actually, Ra, is where does the champion go from here? He's obviously calling out Crawford. I would like to see that fight against Crawford. In my opinion, I think that's a tough fight for Crawford, man. Styles makes fights, and we've seen, he's
that is a tough fight. Again, in terms of skills, there's no comparison, but just the sheer physical presence of Murtazaliev. Look at the size of him. Yeah, just the strength, the power.
Yeah,
I don't think Bud will take that because we know at this point in his career, Bud just wants some real big money fights.
yeah, because you know he could potentially lose that, bro. You
Yeah,
know, that's that's a
good.
you don't want to. It's high risk, low reward that fight.
That fight won't happen. Like I said, it looks like Fundora and Spence. All the rumors are they've got a massive fight in Texas. So good luck to them. That's a brilliant fight. So Bakram could end up being, chairman of the Who Needs Him Club. I'll tell you who I would like to see him feed on: the carcass of Jamel Charlo. Charlo saying he's coming back to 154.
Well,
Now,
Jamel said he's coming back to 154.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
that's what he said. Now, the interesting thing is, Charlo never lost his titles in the ring.
Yep.
So he is still the lineal champion.
Yep.
So I think this is a good fight for both men. Either Charlo can come back, slay this beast, and say, hey, I might only have one of the belts that I originally collected, all of them, but none of you have beaten me in the ring yet.
Yep.
Or Bakram gets to beat him and says, hey, you guys, I'm the man who beat the real undisputed champ. Guys, got to see me if you want to be the real champ. So I think that would be a good fight for both men. But, Charlo's, they're so unreliable. They're in and out. Let's see if he does come back. But other than that, I mean, like I said, 154 is such a hot division. I'm sure we can think of loads of good fights for him. But I don't know what's his promotional situation like. So, yeah.
So I believe Murta's. I just love the way Lucy's just shortened his name. It just makes it a lot easier because I don't want to butcher his name any longer. So Murta's Aliyev. So he's promoted by the same person as Usyk. So you obviously know him very well. So from that aspect,
okay.
yes. So from that aspect, they get down to business. So making those fights happen, I definitely think it is possible. Lucy's obviously saying I wouldn't be surprised if neither Charlo never fought again, which is such a shame. US champs will avoid Bakram, but Skull has no choice or lose his rank. And Murta fights main event.
Mr. Neutral, I've seen you say that a couple of times. Skull is the IBF super middleweight champ. Bakram is the IBF 154 champ. So they're not linked in any way. I don't know what you're getting at there. Do you want Bakram to jump 2 divisions, or
he probably wants him to jump 2 divisions, man? I don't know. I don't know most of these guys. What's Hurd saying? So
hold on.
Jeff Hurd, he's not been about for a while. I'm not too sure what's happening. Skull just won the IBF title yesterday. So my bad, thinking of the wrong guy. Yeah, I think you are, my brother, man. Don't worry, it's all good, bro. But the division is looking good. Even Erickson Lubin even wants some of the champs. So he said initially he wanted to fight him before Zhu, but Zhu had the rights to fight him first. But that's as much as I love Zhu, I'm a big fan of Zhu.
Yeah,
he must have been high up on the IBF ranking for him to just jump in from another.
Well, I think he would have been number 2, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would have been. Yeah. To be fair, he was mandatory to fight Charlo for a long time. So I do understand how that's worked out, man. In the end, man. So
I'll tell you who would also make an awesome fight, and we're gonna need Turki Al-Sheikh, who incidentally, I don't know if this is true, but again, it's been said that he was laughing at Zhu for losing, which again, classless. If that's true, I haven't
seen laughing at Zhu for losing.
I haven't seen proof of it myself, but people have said online he posted something laughing at him. Again, disrespectful.
Yes.
As you said in the past, like just
Yeah.
because he took an opportunity without your permission, come on, stop that. But a fight that would be a banger would be Bakram against Virgil Ortiz Jr.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You did. Yeah, someone did mention that as well. I think that would be a decent fight for sure. And look, I think at the end of the day, I don't really like to, you know, talk about fighters in a negative fashion, especially after a loss, and especially what Tim's gone through. You know, since the Fandora fight, we obviously all know that was a bloodbath. I think there was a point in the first round where he kind of checked his head. You know, that PTSD just came out, and he just thought that shit, am I still bleeding? But um, at the end of the day, he showed he's a warrior anyway. He's come up from all those knockdowns. I think from the first knockdown, it was kind of a continuation. So I wouldn't say it was a multiple knockdown. So I think that first knockdown just created the snowball effect.
Yeah, exactly that. I think you hit the nail on the head. Absolutely. Was that?
It was definitely that, man. But big up to Murta. He obviously showed his class. Be great to see who he has next. I want to definitely see him in big fights. He is undefeated. He is, the champion IBF, and it will be interesting to see what happens. But Tim Tszyu, just have your head up, champ. Obviously, your dad's created a tremendous legacy for you and your brother. So look, I think he can come back stronger, head back to Australia, rebuild, fight regional again, and then possibly come back to the States to have your American Dream tour, I would say, and let's see what he could do one day, man. So no, big up to both champions, man. And I would only love if only Mo's got iced. Absolutely crazy.
Ollie Mers trains at Rod Julian's gym, which I visited a few weeks ago, which is Sam Gillies' coach. So he trains alongside Sam Gilly. So I don't know if you've heard something that I don't know about. Is he going to enter some sort of influencer or misfits fight? If he is, like I said, he's training with some real good guys in Sam Gilly. So
you think he's got it?
I don't think he'll get iced. I'm sure Rod Julian will make sure he's on point enough to put up a credible showing.
So really exposure to you. That's big up to you.
Yeah, he's not got that sort of slick upper body movement. So I think Palomas Music wants to ask me a few things about Saudi boxing experience.
Yes.
Like someone who can give you some real insight, having been to Saudi Arabia now 4 times.
What? 4 times? I really lost count because you've been there so long.
So I went to AJV Ruiz 2. Then there was
the... Okay, so you were there for the...
Yeah, I was obviously just as a fan.
Yep.
Knockout boxing night when AJ fought Valim. Then, of course, Usyk v Fury. That was the big one, the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. And
massive.
Finally, I went to the 5v5. So what's the Saudi boxing experience like? I mean, the arena, the venue is absolutely stunning. You know, super modern, beautiful venue. Facilities are impeccable. The production value is impeccable. But there isn't that much of local interest, because you're asking, is there much local benefit? I mean, when they have the public events, they're at a public location, the press conference, the workouts, the locals are just walking past, not knowing what it's all about. So the strange thing is they don't even seem to be marketing it towards the locals. and I think it's a really big mistake because guys like Hamza Shiraz, because he's of Pakistan descent, in Saudi Arabia, a lot of the expat workers are from Pakistan. If they had marketed it to the locals, like, look, one of your community is in a big fight, they would have packed out the arena, made an electric atmosphere. I know people criticize the atmosphere. What Frank Warren said is right. Generally, atmosphere is only good when you got your hometown fighters. It's the same in Britain.
Yep.
I can't say the atmosphere in Britain is always electric. It's electric when someone is popular in their hometown fans. So they don't have that yet in Saudi Arabia. So that's what I would say. You know, the logistics are difficult to get around in, you know, Saudi Arabia. Riyadh's a really big city. They don't really have public transport yet, so you need to get taxis everywhere. Things like that are a bit awkward. But like I said, the arena itself, beautiful, and it will come. It will come. Don't worry about that. Remember, it's only been a year since Riyadh season's been involved, so you can't expect to catch up with our boxing tradition, which goes back 100 years. So,
yeah, no, big up to His Excellency, you know, for putting together these tremendous Riyadh season cards. Not only are they covering Saudi Arabia, but they're covering, you know, different parts of the world. USA, we can argue that that's the mecca of boxing in terms of the history and, you know, everything. And also the UK, the fact that they had the Riyadh season Wembley edition was absolutely tremendous. So hopefully we get, you know, much more events. And I definitely agree with you. Obviously, I have a close friend who lives in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh, and he was obviously saying to me that the tickets there, they're so cheap up there. They're pretty much the same value as maybe 20 to 40 pounds. So imagine you're paying that kind of money to go to these big events, and you've seen how much it costs here in the UK. You know, to get a ticket, it's not going to be 20 to 40 pounds. So, you know, there's a big contrast in terms of the pricing, and for the locals, they've got a tremendous opportunity to, you know, to go to these events. And I definitely agree with you. I think if they have more local fighters, then they'll create more of a vibe in terms of the atmosphere. So let's see in the future. Let's see what we could do in terms of that. And yeah, everyone's just kind of getting involved. So Riyadh could use a little English hooligans, scuffles in the audience of the fights, making the rounds, make it holistic boxing experience, which is fair. I would have thought Turkey would have started to develop a homegrown fighters to make the crowd, but they'll always alcohol to shout, which is true.
They've done that at the last show that on the Better Beer Bivol card. They had that kid Mohammed Al-Akel made his pro debut. So
Yeah.
Yeah, they've started, but yeah, these aren't. It's not an overnight process. It's a decade long process.
No, it is. No, definitely. Raw, obviously we've done, you know, a big overtime, of course. You know, we normally do half an hour, but we've obviously done, you know, an hour for the community, of course. Apologies in advance for the streams coming out, and, you know, I'm not too sure what's happened. So what we're going to do is we're going to re-upload this episode on YouTube so that everyone gets the full experience, because I think it's come up as 3 different streams or whatever. So we're going to deal with that. But people, just keep supporting us, keep liking our content, keep supporting the family, because, you know, we're covering content throughout the week, of course. Boxing schedule is literally here. So obviously Green Diamond Boxing will be back on Monday tomorrow. She's actually got a Reclaiming Narratives episode that's coming up for USA, so that should be an interesting one. Obviously Tuesday we have Across the Way from the US to the USA with Rico and Chill Dollar Bill, and also we've got the Stay Weighed In show, which features Abbas and Sugar Ray. And also, obviously, Wednesdays back to the roundups. Thursday, Ra, you're back with Rico. Hopefully, you're gonna do the R&R hour, so that I know the people are gonna be waiting for that. And then Friday, we've obviously got the hard talk with Mr. Neutral. And Saturdays, of course, we might have a watch along, just depending on who's hosting. Normally, Mr. Neutral will be doing it. And Sundays, obviously, back with the roundup. And also, just a special shout out to Rico for banter and boxing. Now, we've obviously got the sister channel available on our channel, so just make sure you subscribe to that, and you get to see Rico's shenanigans. And yeah, it's going to be obviously but no, big up. Obviously, Catchful versus Progress is obviously next week. So, yeah, we're going to have a lot to talk about. Abbas is going to be covering the content for us. And we've actually got some interviews that's going to be coming out on the channel on Monday. So it will be with Regis and also Catchful by Abbas. So big up to Abbas as well. And Ra, I just want the people to, you know, have more of a understanding of what you do, brother. So could you let the people know what they should look out for on your end and how they should follow you?
Yeah, as you said, I like to do the grassroots stuff as well as going to those exotic locations. So yeah, I often visit the local gyms, talk to some of these upcoming fighters. So yes, so look out for that. Went to Leo's gym in Hertfordshire. Got a couple of boys who were upcoming. So yeah, look out for that. And of course, now and again, I go to these exotic locations and cover fights there. So yeah, over on Punchout Boxing, you'll find some of those, as well as your general big fight nights in the UK. I'll still go to those. OnlyFans, yeah, for those of you who want to see me doing things, yeah, by invitation only though.
So big up to you, Ra. Obviously, you don't get as much, you know, appreciation, you know, from the people. So I'm obviously going to just say to you, keep up with the tremendous work that you're doing for Punch Out. We obviously appreciate you, you know, with the iBoxingHub family. And everyone's just saying, you know, keep up the works. Rico's obviously got an interview with Shannon Ryan on Tuesday, which is obviously going to be absolutely tremendous. And exotic locations, OF. No, but big up to you, big up to the community. Thank you so much for supporting us. Here's a word from our sponsors before we obviously sign out. Yes, obviously, big up to my cuz with the shadow boxing. He should be back next week. And guys, if you like what I'm wearing, just support us by going into D-Rock's website. If there's anything that you like in there, if you like this hoodie, if you like anything that you saw in the video, just use the discount code, which is iBoxingHub24, and you'll get 40% off everything. We're in the road to 1K subs, so people, make sure you share this content with a friend, and if they like boxing, just let them know to tune into iBoxingHub and just hit the bell, and you should get notifications on what we do best. But Ra, big up to you, big up to the people that's involved as well. I know everyone's you know, getting involved in the chat, so big up. So Ra, we're obviously going to sign up, and yes, don't forget Neutral's Fight Week vlog for iBoxingHub and Punch Out Boxing. Yes.
Big up, Steve.
And can I have another tracksuit? Big up to you, Rico, man. Big up. Yes, so, yeah, Ra, big up to you. Have a tremendous evening. And
Thank you
we're
so much.
about to sign out.
It's another band. All the Muslim cars now, whichever get up. Light up my scars with a sweet one bliss. Someone flicks me a bag, but it. Say, oh.